All right, welcome to another episode of the Canucks Chatter podcast. I am Rafal. That's Victor. We're a little bit late in the week for this episode. We normally record the pod on Mondays, have it out to you guys by Tuesday morning. Vic was at the game on Monday. We'll get to the Colorado game a little bit later. I had an event to go to last night, so we're recording here. It's a Wednesday. They are going to face Utah. We haven't watched it yet. It hasn't started yet, so we can't discuss that. But by the time this episode will be out, the game will be played. So we'll talk about it next week, and we can tee it up a little bit here. Um, but yeah, if we, I mean, I guess let's go game by game, right? Like instead of saying how the whole week went, because it's kind of, especially this week, it's if you look at Canucks Twitter fans, it's either they're great or they're awful. There's no in
It was
between, really.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Um, so okay, let's start off with a game that's a little more, I guess, less one way or the other, which was the first game last week, which was on Tuesday, which was the 4-3 overtime loss to the St. Louis Blues, where they come back. What were your thoughts on that game?
It's just weird. I thought they just gave up the chances. They scored and they didn't. The urgency wasn't there. It was there in the third to get that tying goal, but other than that, they just seemed lifeless. But they played just enough to get it into overtime, and I don't know, it's just a meh game. Nothing
Yeah,
happened. They weren't terrible, but they weren't good either. And they got an outcome that deserved it. Got a point, didn't win.
yeah,
Like, oh, it's
yeah.
just
Yeah,
classic them this year.
yeah. It's definitely been different than last year. I think like last year, and I think that's kind of the talking point is like you kind of had a steadiness. You know what you were getting with them. This year, it's a little bit, there's been a lot of, I guess, drama outside of the team and all that. But yeah, it's that game. Yeah, you basically said it. They didn't really show up till the third period. That's when they kind of pressed. Before that, it was not much going on for them. Good thing that they got a point from it. That's 1 point is better than nothing. So they'll take it.
Yep. Pedersen played well the whole game.
He
He
played
and
good.
Hughes were the two that really were there. Demko was there. So
Hmm.
technically, I guess their stars did show up,
Yeah,
and the lack of secondary scoring, but still got 3 goals, point
yeah. I
good.
mean, who got Pedersen, Nebraska, but it was Joshua, right? So there's a little bit of depth scoring. He got his first of the year, so that was good to see. He
Yeah,
got that
yeah.
goal.
The one play that really stands out is when I think it was Bushnevitz lost his stick, and instead of getting a new one, he just followed Hughes, and Hughes showing off his 200 hockey IQ, just left the zone.
Mm,
Like, all right, you want to follow me? I'm just gonna stand right here out of the zone, and you can't do anything either. And the team played 4-on-3, and they scored.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's it depends where you're on the ice, but sometimes if you have no stick, you just unless you can get body position, there's not much you can do, especially against a guy like Hughes, who's just going to dance around you if you got no stick. Even if you have a
Yeah,
stick, it's hard enough. But
like this is the first time I've seen someone actually say, "All right, I'm just not going to touch the puck, and you can stand beside me all you want, but you're just giving the rest of the players more ice." And like that is that is a he's living in the year 2094 there.
yeah, yeah. So that game, they get a point out of it, and then I mean, the game that I kind of brought up last week that I was kind of looking at and just sort of a measuring stick game. You're facing the defending Stanley Cup champs and the Florida Panthers. They're a good team still this year. Maybe not as deep on the back end, but still one of the definitely the top teams in the East. And just a great game by the Canucks. Like, they get a shutout. Lankinen played amazing. Yeah, it was
60
JT
minutes.
Miller's return. Yeah, 60 minutes. JT Miller's return.
Barkov wasn't really involved. North Vancouver's own Sam Reinhart was decided that he wanted to play for the should have signed here and played for the Canucks because he didn't help out Florida.
For one
Wish he
game,
was.
yeah.
So hey, we are all Canucks, and I guess Sam Reinhart is still one of us. Thank you, Sam. And
I think
it's another season where they they've swept the season series against Florida back-to-back years now.
Yeah, they definitely have something on Florida. Um, I don't think Florida played their best game. Uh, I've watched a few of their games this year, but I don't want to take anything away from Vancouver because I think that they stuck to their game plan and played. You know, they played a good game.
The
And
pressure they put on all their puck carriers
yeah,
was big. It was night and day from the St. Louis game. They just didn't give them much room, and the zone entry wasn't crisp. Kachuk was trying to go after Quinn the whole game, and Quinn took him out of his game by doing just regular Quinn use things.
yeah. So yeah, probably one of the you know best games of the Canucks have played this season. Especially against a good team in Florida. And then we fast track to 2 days later. It's the complete opposite, where they lose 5-1 to Boston. And that's kind of where I guess some people are like, for some reason, hitting bottom very fast. Not a good game by Vancouver, really, at all. Just didn't have their legs. Didn't feel engaged. I mean, that was the game where Tocchet post game was had that quote of some guys aren't emotionally engaged in the game, and you're not gonna have your A game every night, but you got to be engaged emotionally in the NHL. And yeah, sort of how did that game kind of play it out in your eyes?
Ugh, it hurt my eyes to watch that game.
Yeah, just
To
not good.
see the crowd. I like the crowd being into it early and booing Marchand, and then
And he
Marchand
scores.
deservedly was allowed to rub that in their face.
Yeah,
Basically, yeah, you're gonna boo me. I'm gonna score a goal and then rub it in your face. Well, that's the way you're supposed to do it. I
yeah,
gotta
for sure.
give the hat tip. Would I do the same thing? Absolutely.
Oh
That's
yeah,
how
if
I
you're
play.
gonna get booed, and you score, you got to give it to them.
Yeah.
When expecting the
The more things I can do to get you angry, I will do that.
yeah,
And
and then
that's how.
he's that's how he plays.
Yeah,
Uh,
gotta respect that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, love him or hate him. I'm sure most Canuck fans hate him, but
Yep,
got to
we do.
respect his game. And he's one of those players that if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not on your team, you hate him. And so
Yeah,
31 other
yeah.
teams hate him. One team
He's
loves him.
kind of that. You respect the game, but you also don't respect the way he plays with his,
Yeah,
at
for
least
sure.
with his cheap shots. Yeah, you're too good of a player to do that crap.
I will say that it's not all gone, the cheap shots. He's gotten
Yeah,
better at it though.
yeah,
It's not all gone
it's
for
still there.
sure.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
still
part
there.
where you don't respect a guy like that. Like,
Mhm.
don't do that crap.
Well, that's like
Crap.
Kachuk, right? It's kind of a similar.
Kachuk keeps it clean. He doesn't do anything dirty. He's annoying.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll
That's true.
he'll he doesn't go out and injure people where Marchand does.
Yeah, the knee, the sticking the leg
Yeah,
out, the knees, the slew foots.
yeah,
That's the biggest thing.
yeah.
Which yeah, I don't know if that's fully gone from his game, but he's effective, man. That's he was effective in that game
Yeah.
too.
But Matt, the only positive I'm going to take out of that game, Max Sasson scored his first NHL goal. He's
Yeah,
looking like he might be one of the Abbey guys that's going to stick up with this team.
he's been like he hasn't looked out of place. He's making the smart plays. He's not he's not the crazy flashiest player, but he's a reliable guy that you can kind of mix in wherever you need on your lineup. And I've been impressed by him because, to be honest, when he was called up, I didn't. The expectations weren't too high. I don't think for anybody, but
No,
it's good to see him. We'll see how much of a stretch or run he gets, and the more games he plays, we'll see how it goes. So far, it's it's been
he's
it's
got
been good.
good hockey IQ, really good speed, keeping up, and he's shown that he can be at least a bottom six guy, a fourth liner that can just go up and down, create a little bit of havoc. Not
Mhm.
afraid to go to the dirty areas. Not not expecting much, but he's proven that he deserves to stay in the lineup. And with
Yeah,
me being a big fan of Ratu, and that he's I think Sasson deserves the spot more than Ratu right now.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think he's bringing a little bit more to the table than maybe on the offensive side or making plays. Yeah, it just kind of sucks for him to get your first NHL goal in that game because it's just like
Yeah,
You want it to be a part of a
can't really
win.
celebrate.
I know exactly, right? It's the game's already over, and
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter. He'll never forget that moment for the rest of his life. But
Yeah.
you kind of wish it happened during a winning effort or a close game or something. But anyway,
I liked how
congrats to
JT
him.
Miller stopped his own stuff, gave him a little pat, and then rushed to grab the puck before the Bruins cleared it out.
Yeah. Good for him. We'll so bad game there, and then the game after, which was on Monday, which you were at, the Colorado game. That was another great game by Vancouver. You have a unique perspective. You were in the building. How did that game sort of play out in your eyes, being there live?
Just from shift one, the Canucks came out with their intensity on, and they strapped on their skates and skated like Woodrow Wilson. They just went out and just put the chances on. They forced Mackenzie Blackwood to make a lot of saves. They
Mm-hmm.
had they didn't give McKinnon and Makar all sorts of time and space, and when they did, the team was there to recover. And Demko and it was outstanding. And like, I was expecting a big Kale versus Quinn showdown, and Kale was good, but Quinn was better, and it wasn't even one of Quinn's better games. But this was another 60-minute effort. They did their thing. Noah Juleson and Carson Soucy, that second pair, again, it's a short time frame right now, but they're looking really good. Soucy's starting to find his game. Still
Mm-hmm.
some big mistake, some glaring mistakes every now and then, and Juleson is very physical and was able to make a first
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah, I was looking at you like Juleson, like he just looked very, like you said, like physically engaged, and I think that's going to help him keep a spot in the lineup. I'm sure Tocchet kind of, you like that. You want to see that bite because not everybody on the Canucks back end has that, and if you want to keep your spot in the lineup as a depth defenseman, you need to have that, right? You need to add other elements to your game, and I think he was definitely noticeable in that game, and at times too when he is physical, and also like you said when he's making that first pass and breaking the puck out.
And one of the things that I've noticed with him in a lot of games is that he will put himself out of position to go for that big hit. But it's fine to go for the big hit, but sometimes you just got to stay in your lane. And he didn't do that. He did go step up a couple times to make some big hits. And I remember a couple times he put McKinnon on his butt, and then Ross Colton actually he went to hit Colton, and he ended up bouncing off of Colton. And Jolson made some good. He didn't put himself out of position, and Soucy he was making the right plays, and from 1 to 6, even Desharnais played well, and that was a scary situation when we saw him in the starting in the lineup. We're like, oh no, that's going to be a little iffy.
Against McKinnon's speed.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Like I was just thinking about, Juleson and kind of the sort of, I don't know, the trick for him, or not the trick, but like the goal for him and some of these guys that are like trying to fight for a regular NHL spot is, can you keep it consistent? Can you play that good game for long stretches? We haven't seen that yet, but he's still got time, and that's not just on him, but any, I guess, young defenseman in the NHL is, can you play your game in the right way? Not a lot of
He's
great
not young
players.
Anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, like a lot, maybe not young, but he doesn't have crazy amounts of NHL experience.
Yeah.
Or some these, there's a lot of players that could come up and play a couple good games here and there, but you need that consistency.
Yeah.
And hopefully he can find it. Lately he's been good, right? So that's something to monitor for him.
His career will always be what if to me if he didn't have those concussion issues during his key development time.
Yeah,
that seemed that he missed probably good chunks of a couple of years, and because he was a good first round pick by Montreal and made Team Canada, and just wonder what would have happened. But he's a legit NHLer, but he brings size, mobility, and just don't mind him. As when Hronek comes back, I don't think he should leave the lineup. I think he should be on the third pair with Brandstrom or whomever will be on that left side, whether it be Brandstrom, Forbort.
Yeah, it depends how the back end for Vancouver looks like at that point. To be honest, like if we're I mean, if we're talking about, there's quite a bit of reports about Vancouver being kind of more aggressive in their pursuit of a top 4D, that a deal might be closer. There was a couple of deals today, actually.
East Coast scribes saying deal is imminent. No,
I don't think it's like imminent because there's going to be that holiday trade freeze. But there's already a couple deals. There's Capo got dealt today.
After what he said last night, I'm not surprised.
I don't. From a couple of sources that I was going on Twitter there, I don't remember who it was. Someone who covers the Rangers was saying that it didn't really have anything to do with the comments. It was more so just there's talk about trading him for a while now, and especially with the Rangers and that tire fire that's happening there with their expectations, if you're gonna get scratched
with what he said.
No, he's not. I don't think he is. Like
he's not one of the worst players on the team.
No, he's not. And he's not an offensive specialist. He's his stats, and you look at some of the the numbers behind it. Defensively, he's been playing well. Maybe you want more offense.
Pick. There should be still some offense in him.
For sure. I mean, yeah. I mean I think that's what is kind of Rangers fans are looking for, because when you look at him as a second overall first round pick, and then you see what he's doing, you kind of be like, you want more. But he hasn't been playing bad, and as the Rangers, there's been players, and I'm sure the Rangers fans will tell you, there's players that are playing much, not contributing at all compared to him. But they get Will Borgen, a couple of picks.
Yeah, I think both teams worked out well on that one.
Yeah.
If that trade proves anything, when the Canucks are going to try to find a defenseman, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's going to cost them any of Lekkerimäki, DPD, or Willander, I don't think they should get that just to be a wild card team or a third place in the Pacific, unless they're a legit top end cup contender that that defenseman is going to put them over. Because I don't think there's a player out there that's available that's going to put them over the top. There's still a couple holes on this team. They play against Colorado. Colorado does have holes too, but they were able to generate a lot. Canucks played a solid team game, and I think Demko could have probably had a shutout if it wasn't for the guy sitting beside me. About 3 minutes go. Goes, come on, boys, let's preserve that donut. I just glared at him like, do you not know the rules? It would have been nice for Demko to get a shutout.
Yeah, it was close. Not much time left, and then Machushkin gets that one.
Beside me, who I have more beef with him, he sets down and man spreads and takes over most of my seat.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, I don't know when the Rogers Arena kind of ups their seat game. They're supposed to have new seats. Is that next year?
Yeah.
Who
knows? They've been in it for years, though. But...
Yeah, that's true. Also,
let's talk about Kiefer Sherwood. That performance.
He's been good. Yeah.
And he scored 3 different ways. The little banging garbage goal in front of the net, the breakaway top shelf where Mom keeps the peanut butter, and then the empty netter. Like, that's a pretty nice way to do a hat trick.
Oh, yeah. I think, he just shows how much value he has, and watching him, it's almost like surprising that he got a $1.5 million deal with Vancouver. It's like, really, there's no other team that would match that offer, or maybe give him more, or because doesn't he already have his goal totals, his career high, or he's one away or something? Yeah, he's got to be. I can't have the exact.
He is a pretty prolific scorer in the AHL too, and I can't remember who was saying how guys like him, if they get a nice offer on the first couple of days, they're going to take it. They're not going to wait around.
Yeah, you don't want to wait.
The right situation. And Canucks got a good deal out of that, and he already 11 goals on the year.
That's his career. He's passed his career high. His career high was 10. So
they were saying Patrick Alvin was saying they think there's offensive upside when they signed him, and he's showing it. And he's been the Canucks' best Japanese player since Steve Correa, and he's probably overtaken him by now.
Yeah, he's been great. Like the most, I don't know, consistent forwards for Vancouver has probably been him and Garland, right? Like they've they've just been playing really well. He's physical. He gets in your face. He's hard to play against. He's contributing offensively. Can't really ask for much more. And that was probably the best game of his career. At least stats wise. First career hat trick. All around good game.
I'm on the Kiefer Sherwood wagon for sure.
Oh, I think he's a huge fan favorite. Just anyone who plays that type of style where you're not only a scorer, but you get in there and you're physical and you're in the other team's face. Like fans just love those type of players. Like it's every team would love to have that.
This is who Jim Benning thought he was. Jim Benning tried getting these guys like him, but he kept striking out. But that's Jim Benning's fault. So
and
Alvin's done a much better job shoring up the bottom six. Peace Suter continues to play well. He was noticeable in Colorado against Colorado. Sorry, he's proving himself to be a literal Swiss Army knife, not just figuratively. He is literally a Swiss Army knife. He lined up on the wing. He was at center. He was penalty killing, power play. He literally does it all. Oh, and his price tag, it's just great. As friend of the show, Harmon Dial, saying he can just put him anywhere and just works for the team.
Yeah, it's just looking at last year after 30 games, who the goals leaders were. It's like Besser had like 22. Right now, it's like DeBrusk number 1, Suter number 2, or him and Sherwood tied for number 2 and 3. Like, yeah, you wouldn't expect those to be the top, goal scoring players on the Canucks, but hey, they're providing their value. And if that's happening, you hope that some of the the big boys just step it up and play really well. Then you kind of have depth scoring and your superstars being your stars. So there was
all goals count the same. They're scoring for the team. That's all that matters.
But at the end of the day, like your stars need to be your best players. That'll be a theme that'll continue, especially in the playoffs and things like that. In terms of the trade, there was that. It's not really a rumor. It's just Elliot Friedman wonders. You look at Buffalo, who's just lost 11 in a row. I don't even know what to say about that team. It's got to be the bottom of the bottom. They're never really getting out of there. And they're looking for, seems like a shakeup. And it was Elliot Friedman kind of mentioned he just out of his, that
when you're editing this, put the eye rolling emoji on my face at this point.
Well, I think it's not a rumor, an actual rumor. He says it's just like it's not talk to anybody, but
it's just annoying. It's just throwing gas on the fire, knowing that he's got a national show. It's just putting flames, and just because that this market's going to eat that rumor up, and it is true. Like he's a great reporter. His rumors are correct a lot of times about the East Coast teams. When he comes to talk to Vancouver, it's never right.
Well, in his defense, it's not. He's not saying it's a rumor that he talked to the teams. It's his own kind of thought.
Yeah. It's throwing fire onto fuel onto the fire. It's just going to cause ruckus. It's just to get a couple clicks. He's better than that. He's a good reporter, and this is going to cause ruckus. It'd be like if Thomas Drance said Mitch Marner is going to Utah tomorrow. Toronto fans would pick that up like no tomorrow, and that would be the talk of town. And you'd be Toronto fans would be upset. Like, why is this guy doing this?
I think. Well, it's nice to and now here you have a rant. So Victor goes off on Elliot Friedman.
East Coast scribes. No, don't. It's when reporters are just to get views and listens. It's not fair. They're fans, and it becomes a distraction for the team because it's going to get to them, because then the local reporter has to pick this up because then he'd be not doing his job. It's like, hey, player X, what about this rumor? And then they're going to get upset. It's just, I wouldn't say it's irresponsible, but it's just not annoying.
Okay, strong take. Strong take.
Yeah.
I think.
Like give us something credible. Bob McKenzie
Well, I don't. Yeah.
and Darren Dreger, you
Well,
would
they don't
never
give
hear
their
them go
opinions of like in terms of like a hypothetical trade.
exactly
They wouldn't do that. But
because they
different
don't do
type of
that.
person. I don't know. But I do. I think Buffalo's got to do something. And not to say that specific trade. If anybody doesn't know, I'll just say it in case they don't know. There was just Elliot Friedman just was kind of putting a random what if scenario together if Canucks traded Elias Pettersson to Buffalo for Bowen Byram and I believe it was Dylan Cousins, like a deal centered around that or something. But anyway, I can see Vancouver though being interested in a guy like Bowen Byram. Not talking about that specific deal, but that player, because I'm sure that's
to be more coming back. Because the first ask is I'm asking for Dahlin or Owen Power. I want a deal centered around one of those two. Bowen Byram and Dylan Cousins is a starter pack.
I'm not even talking about Pettersson as part of the deal, but I just mean like Canucks using whatever they have to try to get someone like Bowen Byram. Dahlin's not going anywhere. He's their captain.
Exactly. I know he's not going anywhere.
Owen Power, I think they pretty made it clear that they do not want to trade him. So I can see Bowen Byram being the guy out, especially with what's going on there. Vancouver, I'm sure will be interested.
I don't know if the Canucks have enough in the tool chest to get Bowen Byram out.
Yeah, that's the thing. And actually, it's interesting too. Like this, so since JT Miller came back, before JT Miller was out, Pettersson was, getting a lot of points. Yeah. I don't think he's played poor these last 3 games, but he is pointless since JT Miller came back in a -3.
Yeah.
Like it's.
We all
you can't just look at stats only. You can't just look at stats only, and I'm not trying to just say
Pettersson
that he's been
was very good in the Colorado game.
Yeah.
And he was good against Florida. Didn't get the points, but he played well. Like the Colorado game, he was driving and play. He was drawing defensive attention. He was probably the second best Canucks forward that night. And yeah, they've even said they don't always get along. Their personalities don't mesh.
But here's the thing: there's going to be at some point. I don't know when that is. Is it at the end of the season? Is it during the season? Is it, does it get resolved? That they have to kind of have a resolution to this, right? Because it's either you find out if these two can coexist, which to this point, it has not happened. It seems unlikely to happen. Could still happen, but to this point, it doesn't necessarily seem like
they're struggling to get it together. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been like that for a while. And if it affects that dressing room and the team, which it clearly has, I mean, JT Miller took a leave of absence, and I don't want to speculate too much, but it was, he's the one who asked for it.
Yeah, whatever that was, that's him.
But there's, eventually this organization is going to have to figure out, okay, if can they play together in the sandbox and be a team. And if they can't, they're going to have to move on from one of those two guys. And I don't think that decision has to be made now. I think if you're going to move on, Pettersson does have a no trade clause that kicks in, right? At some
July
point.
1st.
So if he's the guy you want to trade, if he's the side you want to trade, you have to do that before then. And if he's not and it's the other way, I don't know if JT Miller has a no move clause.
I can't remember if he does it. He probably does.
Or something. Yeah, you'd have to find something because eventually,
it's a mistake if they get rid of Pettersson.
I agree. He's the younger guy. He's a center. I mean, they're both centers. It's
that Miller trade is going to the Miller contract is probably not going to age well. Not because of him. It's because of father time.
Age. Yeah, it just happens.
Father time beats everyone. Doesn't
agree.
matter who you are. So I'd rather give me Pettersson's 11.6 and 7 years. I'm okay with that. He's done nothing but show he's an elite level player. Even saying he's not doing well, he's a point per game player. I'm taking that any day of the week. Is his
He's
value
actually not a
if you were
point per game player this year.
he's like not this year, but every other year. Like
Yeah,
he's on
yeah.
pace to be near a point
Close,
a
yeah.
game,
He's
and
26 points in 30 games, -3.
yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
considering the start he had, the fact that
Yeah.
he's nearing a point a game. Like most teams will do anything for that, and he he's been consistent for most of his career. There's a reason why he's super popular, and yeah, would you get more for him? Absolutely, but would your team really be better if you traded Elias Pettersson? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it always depends on what you get back. I don't think that's again, I think I'm with you. It really comes down to, I mean, they're different players, obviously, like even temperaments, right? JT Miller's a very fiery guy. Pedersen's kind of the complete opposite. Um, and like, well, he's a younger guy. You got him locked up at the dollar figure. Your window kind of stays longer if you have him around. So yeah,
Exactly.
I think
Like this is
if it comes to
very
that point,
2000,
yeah,
yeah, 2011, and the Canucks had the Sedins and Kessler. Kessler is the more intense guy, the rah rah, and the Twins were more laid back. But I don't know if this has to do with age, where the Twins were older, Kessler was younger. He fell in line a little bit. Where here, Pedersen's the younger person, and Miller's the older guy. Miller doesn't want to give up the throne, but tec- technically, PD was here first. So it's
hmm
kind of like there's more at play here than when the Twins and Kessler had their time. So there's a lot in play. We're not
yeah.
in the dressing room. I'm Team PD, always have been.
Oh,
And
I
I
know
think,
that. I know that.
yeah, and no, I want them both here just because Miller's a very good player.
Yeah, if they can
And
coexist, you'd pick that for
is the
sure.
team better without JT Miller? Absolutely not. It's
No.
hard. Um, even if it would have to be something similar to the trade the Canucks made in '94 when they traded Craig Janney for Jeff Brown, Brett Hedican, and Nathan Lafayette. They ended up getting two guys who could play in their top 60 and a good bottom six winger with speed. That helped the
Yeah.
team get to the finals. Like Jeff Brown was a huge part of that team, is he was able to quarterback the power play and make pinpoint passes. If something comes out of that for JT Miller, like two top six defensemen and a good middle six forward, I'll take that deal.
hmm
But then they didn't have the same center depth, because
Yeah.
they had Linden and Cliff Ronning at center. If Miller goes,
hmm
then it's PD and P. Suter. Nothing against P. Suter, it's just not a second line center. He's a guy who can do everything, but
Right.
not a legit number two.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that Pedersen's probably the guy you keep. It's just an unfortunate thing, and you know, we don't know what's going to happen. But at some point, they may have to make a decision between those two guys. If it that's taken into
Yeah.
consideration, if it doesn't
Hopefully, it'll
work
be
out.
far in the future after a Stanley Cup win.
Yeah, but I think the thing is like no, because if they can't coexist, the team's not gonna be
Not even
led
going
to
to make
that
it
kind of
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
You need everybody. Like if you talk to any of the previous Stanley Cup winning teams, and like they're like a family, they're so close, they're on the same page. You know, there's a difference between like you can get fired up at somebody after a game because of something happened, like that
Yeah.
happens, like
Yeah.
any
They're,
team, championship teams, they can
it's a
bark at each other,
it's a
but
team
this
of
wasn't that.
brothers, but
Yeah,
yeah.
this from all accounts that we hear from reports, that's not the case. So
They don't get
yeah,
along.
no,
Yeah, not everybody gets along, but when your two of your best players don't get along and it's very visible, something needs to be done. They're both adults. They should get, I don't know, go do an escape room or something to get along. And
if it
I
only
think
were that easy.
Tocchet has a role to play in this too. I don't know if he's choosing sides where he's a lot
Yeah,
less tough on Miller and more tough on Petey.
I
Here,
can see
Petey
that.
doesn't
I
might
can see
not
that.
be the tough love kind of guy, where he just likes to do things his own way, and doesn't respond to that. So, or that's where Tocchet has to be maybe a little bit better himself to facilitate the situation.
Yeah, that's I can definitely see JT Miller maybe being more of his type of archetypal forward. If you look at what type of player Rick Tocchet was in his playing career. Yeah, something to I guess monitor, and we'll see where that goes. Don't think it's anything that would happen in season. That would be an insane trade. But maybe it happens down the line if the team feels like it has to. All right, we can look just quickly ahead at the games coming up here for Vancouver. One is happening starting in like 20 minutes that we're not going to be able to. Soon, which will by the time this airs, it'll be done. So,
we'll review it for you. Oh man, Canucks played so well. Good road victory. Demko was solid. Quinn Hughes was able to do his thing, and they beat an upstart or Utah team. And we'll go negative too. You can edit this. Oh, they need to be better. It was just another rough start, and they didn't come alive. And Utah took advantage. Utah hasn't played in a few days. They've been sitting there resting, waiting for Vancouver. They showed the fresher legs, and they were able to take advantage of that. And hopefully Vancouver will be able to do a little bit better in their next game against Vegas.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I can't even predict what's going to happen because even if you just look at this past week, it's like Florida, what a game. Boston, oh, that was awful. Oh, great game in Colorado. So what is this game? I don't know.
I feel both of them. So
yeah, there you go.
You can take it.
So we can skip that game. We have that out of the way. The other games that they have coming up here.
Tomorrow against Vegas, and then
tomorrow that's a back-to-back. That's a tough one.
Ottawa. And Monday against San Jose.
Yeah. That's the Vegas Golden Knights is obviously the tough one. That's the back-to-back. Golden Knights are a heavy good team.
Lankinen should be his return from the flu.
Yeah. And the last time he played last time he played was the Panthers game. Yeah, he played great. He's been just great all year.
Yeah.
Demko's been good too. Yeah. Demko's been good too. Like he's only feel like he's just gonna get more comfortable and better. So that's
he's adapting to the pain in his knee.
Yeah. So that'll be some interesting game coming up. Just look at the Sharks. Like Vancouver should easily win that game, but that Macklin Celebrini, he's looking good.
Yeah. Future Canuck in about 8 years.
Yeah. According to Victor, all the Vancouver-born players are going to be coming.
Nope, just those two. They're going to come home, take a hometown
next
discount.
8 years. You heard it here first.
Yeah. 8 years.
That's those two.
8 years from now, the two of them are coming home. Boom. They turn 26. Bedard's like, no, but I'm not staying in Chicago. I'm coming home.
Hey, who knows? Maybe Chicago's a hot, a contender by then.
Always a Canuck. Once a Canuck, always a Canuck. Yeah. Ottawa's looking pretty good lately. They're starting to
playing better. Yeah.
Up. Linus Ullmark has been light out these last few games and playing.
I think
well.
they're in a playoff spot right now. I think they might have the last playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
In the East.
Tim Stützle, one of the best guys with a the umlaut above his name. Not as not quite Niels Höglander, but still a good man with his umlauts.
So I'm just looking at the Vancouver's 1 point behind because right now Vancouver's in a wild card spot, which is interesting to think about. Still have to figure out some stuff at home.
Not too far behind LA either for that third spot.
Yeah. Well, it's actually
really
Edmonton
close.
Right now. They're 1 point behind Edmonton. 2 points. Sorry. 1 point behind Edmonton, 3 points behind LA. Both Vancouver has a game in hand for both, and Vegas has 43. Yeah. So that Vegas game could help close the gap a little bit. And then a couple of
also Canucks haven't been healthy for the entire season. And they won't be until Hronek gets back.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why the pickup for a top 4 D guy is kind of a little more urgent, as opposed to be like, yeah, we'll just wait till see how things go and we'll wait till the deadline. I don't think that's necessarily how Vancouver, the team, the organization is looking at it. They're seemingly, from reports, aggressively looking, and that's kind of their style. With
they
Alvin
get things done before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. I think. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much talked about everything I can, wanted to get through.
I want to give a shout out to Sawyer Maniok, former third-round pick, made Team Canada, and he's expected to play a big role as a top six. And since not many Canucks have made prospects have been able to make Team Canada, Jonah Gadjevich way back in 2018 was the last one, and
it's been a while.
Maybe Rick DiPietro after that made it. Not Mikey DiPietro, sorry, not Mike.
Mikey,
Rick.
I was like Ricky, yeah.
Mikey DiPietro. So good on Sawyer Manio. He's a diamond in the rough, and hopefully he'll still be a Canuck by the deadline. If not, hopefully if he gets traded, he'll be able to get a good return for him.
Yeah, that's something to monitor. That tournament starts, I guess, just over a week from now, Boxing Day, right? So 8-ish days. So,
as TSN says, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, and all accounts, next week will probably be a non-episode for us. It's going to be the holidays. Might be one later in the week. We'll see. But I guess that's it for us here.
I want to give a shout out to a guy I play hockey with, Mr. Daniel there. Hope get well soon. I took an elbow to the nose and big leaky faucet. So hopefully you'll get well soon, buddy.
Oh, is that Daniel? Daniel, I know him then, right?
Yep.
He got the. Oh, that's unfortunate. Damn. Hopefully that the nose heals up. And again, follow us and subscribe here on YouTube at Canucks Chatter. We're on X at the Canucks Chatter, Instagram, and
Raf Douglas at some deviant.
There you go. That's give us a follow there, and give us your take on anything we talk about or the Vancouver Canucks, and anything you guys want us to talk about on the show. Let us know, and any of those platforms, we'll definitely talk about it. And happy holidays for everybody, and see you on the next episode.